Okay, we have one final question, and once again, we'll go to a teacher from the Richmond District who is here in the room with us. So, Mary?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mary Larson. I'm from Oak Knoll Middle School in Hanover County, Virginia. And we hear that this upcoming generation is going to be the first generation of Americans who are going to be worse off than their parents. I'm a middle school teacher, and my kids hear this, but middle schoolers think they're invincible. Everything is far away. They think we're ancient. So, two questions. Number one, do you agree? Do you think that this generation will not be better off than their parents? And the second one is, if your own kids were middle schoolers today, what would you ask their teachers to do to help to impart this important information to them?
Yet another very good question. Nobody can predict the future, obviously. All kinds of things can happen in the world. But my best guess is that our kids will be better off than we are. And there are a number of reasons for that. The first is that living standards depend most fundamentally of all the various things that determine living standards. The most fundamental is gains in productivity. And we're living in a world of technological change, and the United States is at the forefront of that. We have some of the greatest universities in the world here, and we are doing pretty well at finding ways to commercialize the inventions and discoveries that are coming out of those universities in places like Silicon Valley and Research Triangle and Washington, D.C. area as well. So technology will continue and provide new opportunities, and the U.S. economy is well placed to take advantage of that. We have a very entrepreneurial culture. We have a lot of market-oriented. Our ethos is very market-oriented. We have flexible capital and labor markets. There are, again, I guess I would come back to one issue which cuts both ways, which is our demographics. So one of the challenges that we face collectively is the fact that our society is getting older, and the fraction of people who are retired and receiving Social Security or Medicare is increasing, and that creates fiscal burdens and burdens on future taxpayers. The sort of good news is that relative to most other industrial countries, and indeed compared even to some emerging market economies, the demographics of the United States are actually not that bad. We have a very healthy immigration rate. We have a healthy fertility rate. And so our demographics are actually relatively favorable compared to a number of other industrial countries, and that's another positive. So there are a lot of reasons to think that our society will be transformed by new technologies, new products, new markets, that the United States will play an important role in that, and that will give opportunities for our children to have higher standards of living than we did. Now, there's certainly some very important challenges. I already mentioned the fiscal challenges. Our educational system, we need to keep improving it, because now it's not even a question of our educational system is both failing. It's failing many of our students to some degree, but it's creating a lot of inequality also, because you have some very good schools in the United States and some that are very poor, and that creates a very different starting line for kids who are coming out of those different backgrounds. Education, healthcare, fiscal, there are a lot of issues that we have. And in the near term, of course, kids coming out of high school or college right now are not facing a particularly good job market, and that's going to make it harder for them to get into the workforce and to gain experience and so on. So there are lots of challenges. I don't want to deny that. But again, I think that over the medium and longer term, the intrinsic features of the U.S. economy, which have made it the richest economy in the world, together with the ongoing improvements in technology and the strengths we have in terms of our markets and our demography, all those things are going to be positive. Now, in terms of advice, I think that the way the world is going towards a more globalized system where trade and services can flow very easily across borders to a highly technological society, the benefits of education are going to get greater and greater. this is not going to be a kind of world in which an unskilled worker is going to do well. You need to have enough knowledge, enough, particularly of technology, but just broadly, that you can adapt and accommodate the many changes that are happening and will happen in coming years. So the good news for you is that your product is becoming more and more valuable, and people who are smart will take every possible advantage of it.
Thank you.